animal named a sloth, and there's a good reason it is named as such. This lethargic animal lives in the trees of the tropical rainforest. Sloths move only when absolutely necessary, on average about 41 yards a day. That's less than half the distance of a football field. They sleep for 15 hours a day and only come down out of their trees once a week to go to the bathroom. They're not exactly movers and shakers. The word sloth means a disinclination to labor or activity, spiritual apathy or inactivity. Many of us might not consider slothfulness a sin. We think, it's just a character trait, the way a person is. Others of you may be thinking, me, slothful? No way. I go from morning to night, working, cleaning, making meals, running kids to activities. However, slothfulness is not about how busy you are or how hectic of a lifestyle you lead. Instead, it is about neglect. Neglecting to respond to God's promptings in your life. James 4:17 says, "If anyone then knows the good they ought to do and doesn't do it, it is sin for them." When we are complacent in our relationships, fail to be vigilant against temptations, or unwilling to put forth the effort to do what God is calling us to do, we have committed slothfulness. Jesus addressed sloth in several different parables in Matthew 25. I encourage you to read all of these parables, but for today's session, we're going to focus on just one of them. In Matthew 25, 14 through 30, Jesus tells the parable of the talents. What we have here is a wealthy businessman who was about to go on a business trip. He gives 3 of his workers varying amounts of money. When the businessman comes back, he checks in on the workers to see what they have done with the money he gave them. 2 of his servants doubled the amount of money he gave them. The last servant had dug a hole and hid his money. Obviously, nothing changed the amount of that money. The boss's response to him was, "And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness." The first 2 servants used what they had and gained more by using it. The third servant didn't think, work, or even try. He just made excuses to defend why he didn't do anything with what he had been given. He had given in to slothfulness. God does not want us sitting on the sidelines. He gave us resources He wants us to use, not bury in a hole and hide. Among other things, slothfulness stunts our spiritual growth. Here's 5 ways how. First, it can cause us to put off our salvation and wait for a more convenient time to get things right with God. Don't let that be you. Don't let apathy keep you from getting to know Jesus, accepting His love and forgiveness, and taking care of this matter of eternity. Secondly, sloth can keep us from establishing relationships with other believers. Hebrews 10:24 through 25 directs us to consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembly of ourselves together. We need the fellowship and accountability of other believers. Keep in mind, though, this takes effort on your part. These kinds of friendships don't just happen. You may need to take the first step to get to know someone, to start a small group or join a small group, or to make room in your schedule for a relationship with another. The third way that sloth can stunt our spiritual growth is it can keep us from using the unique set of abilities and spiritual gifts that God has blessed us with. The only way to develop these gifts is to use them. Don't allow sloth to cause your God-given abilities and gifts to deteriorate because you're neglecting to exercise them. Not only has God called us to give of our time and our spiritual gifts, He's also called us to give of our finances. The Bible instructs us to give a tithe or 10% of our income back to God. That doesn't happen on its own, though. Don't allow sloth to keep you from giving back to God what is rightfully His. Finally, don't let apathy and laziness keep you from telling others about Jesus. When God places an opportunity before you to share with someone what God has done in your life, or to invite them to church, or to ask someone if you can pray for them, don't squander that opportunity. Don't allow sloth to keep you from offering life-saving hope to someone else. So what if while you were listening to this, you realized that slothfulness is an issue in your life? What do you do about it? First, admit it. Admit it to yourself and admit it to God and ask Him to forgive you. Ask Him to forgive you for all the times that you missed opportunities that He placed in your path to serve Him. All the things you should have done and chose not to do. Next, ask God for help. Ask Him to help you see how you might join Him in the work that He is doing. Ask Him to equip you and help you to do the work He's prompting you to do. Ask a friend to help you too. Ask someone to hold you accountable, to pray for you as you commit to putting sloth behind you in whatever areas it's holding you back. And then thank Him. Thank God for His forgiveness, for second chances, and for how He's going to help you conquer slothfulness in your life.